Hey, wow, you're getting a Thursday night preview for the first time in a while. It's been a few weeks since we've done this. Actually had a little bit of time, so I figured I'd give you a quick preview for week 6 coming up for the football week and the week in review. So let's get right to it. The first thing I want to do is thank a whole bunch of people for checking it out. You got a lot of people have been checking it out. I have a lot of family, a lot of friends that have been checking out. As far as my friends go, I'd like to make a few mentions. Vanessa has been checking in for a long time, actually. Now the first couple ones that I did, I don't know if it's her, or if it's someone else that's on the account, but she knows who she is because she checks in all the time. So I want to give a big shout out to her. My man Freddie Rails, the Silver Fox. If you guys don't know him, you should try and get to know him. Dude's a maniac. Haven't seen him in a while, but love to see him again. I'm glad he checks in with me every now and again. So good to have you on, Freddie. Tulo, of course, my friend Johnny Tulo. It's been a while since I've seen him too. He's checking in all the time. The two Stacys, you guys know who you are. Gary Lazowski, good friend of mine who we actually got into a car crash a long time ago. I was driving. We lost control. There was 5 of us in the car. Myself, Mark Dillon, John Diogenio, Gary Lazowski. There might have been one more. Is that 5? I don't know. Gary, maybe you remember. I don't remember. Greg Peckham, of course, another longtime friend. My buddy Miko just had a birthday. Johnny Ack. You sicko. Thanks for checking in. Jackie, Liz, Eddie Boy, and of course Andy Genovese. Now Andy Genovese, I haven't seen him forever. One thing you guys gotta understand about my buddy Andy Genovese, I may not have seen him forever, but we grew up together, literally. We went to Mill Road. We always sat next to each other because of our last names, so we were forever linked at that point. He was a young Marine growing up. He eventually became a full-fledged Marine, and thankfully came back from a couple trips overseas. So we're glad you're back, and we're glad you've been back, actually, and we're glad you made it through, Andy. And we're both now 50 years old, I'm sure. I know I am. I don't know. He's got to be at least 50, if not close to it. So the one crazy thing about Andy, and he's going to have to verify a little bit more of this, but the one thing I always remember that will always forever stick in my mind about him is that when we were in Mill Road School, I don't even know what grade, 4th, 5th, 3rd, whatever, Andy every once in a while would get this caged in feeling, like he just needed to get out, and he would just tell me, John, I'm leaving. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I got to get out of here. And he would just take off. I mean, if that happened now, I can't even imagine. The place would go into lockdown, and there was a couple times where he would be gone for like the longest time and no one would even notice, and then eventually they'd be like, oh, where's Andy? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want from me? And they figured out that he had taken off, and he would shoot down the railroad tracks and try and make it home, and he'd be gone for a while. So, but eventually they'd always catch him, which was pretty funny. But to think about if that happened now, it would be mass hysteria. But back then, it was one of those things where it was just like a panic. It wasn't mass hysteria. So anyway, Andy, I'm glad you've been checking in, and I'm happy that anyone checks in, actually. So thank you very much, everyone. So let's get on to the weekend preview, review, whatever you want to call it. The election, which America really should be embarrassed by this whole election. I'm sure the whole world is laughing at us right now. And other countries absolutely have to be laughing at us. And they must think that we must totally take this process for granted. And I think we do, actually, in a way, because there's no way that these two people should be up for election. I wish Bernie Sanders had the chance. Out of all the candidates, I think Bernie was the best one. So, and he, was right that he actually got rigged out of it. So, Flavor Flav, I think, is probably directing this, what I would call reality series election process, because that's the only thing that I can think of that has happened to this whole thing, because it's a total disaster. So I'm going to invoke the Brewster's Millions clause on this election and vote none of the above for that. So I will vote, but I will vote none of the above, and I hope you guys do too, because it's a shame, and I hope we can. I wish there was a way that this can get redone and we can get 2 new candidates, maybe get Bernie back in there, and maybe another good candidate, because these are just, it's sickening what's going on. So I'm sure you guys are sick of it too, most of you anyway. Let's get over to some sports. Ronda Rousey is going to be fighting Amanda Nunes. Ronda's coming back from a break after losing her first fight. They're going to be fighting for the title on December 30th at UFC 207. Good to hear. Ronda said she needed a break, and I can totally relate to that, and needed to get out. She was doing a lot of fighting and a lot of promotions and stuff for the MMA or whatever it is, or UFC rather, I'm sorry. And she just needed a break. I don't blame her, because I definitely need a break myself. So I'm glad she's coming back. The Red Sox were swept and eliminated from the playoffs, and I want to give a big awe to that one. However, were they really eliminated? I would argue no, because the Cleveland Indians are made up of mostly Red Sox anyways. You have Terry Francona, who's managing, Mike Napoli playing first base. You have Andrew Miller, who is a reliever. And you have Coco Crisp, a former New Haven Raven, Red Sox, and a few other things as well. And he's a Cleveland Indian now. He actually played a big part in one of the last wins that Cleveland had. So they also, and the Cleveland Indians also have a bunch of bench coaches that Francona brought over with him. So I would argue that the Red Sox are actually still in it for now. But I am rooting for the Cubs, and we'll be rooting for the Cubs, and hopefully they can pull this one out. And then the last thing I would also like to address is Big Papi. And never liked the guy. Sorry. Just never liked him. And I want to just say, we'll see you, Big Papi. We'll see you. Alright? Alright. We'll see you. Alright, people. That is the preview of the week, and the things that I am looking at now. I was 1-2 last week, first losing week of the year, and that puts me at 12-8 overall after a 1-2 week. And I called it last week. I said it was bound to happen sooner or later, and it did happen. And I should have actually been at 500, because I did like the Patriots, and for some reason, when I woke up Sunday morning, I completely forgot about it. So nothing I can do about it now, because I didn't put it up there. So 1-2 last week, 12-8 overall. What I'm looking at this week, I definitely didn't like tonight's game. I like I said, I typically don't like the Thursday night or the Monday night game. It's every once in a while I get a good feeling about the games, but this game I would have stayed away from. I suppose I would have taken San Diego. I think they were getting 3. I probably would have bet San Diego for the first half. The one thing about San Diego is that they are the team, even though I think they are 1-4, that has, if you add up all the minutes that your team has been leading in games, San Diego has the most minutes leading of every game, and yet they're 1-4. So the whole thing makes no sense. So for the first half, I would take San Diego, whatever they were getting. They're probably getting a field goal, maybe only 1 or 2. Bet San Diego in the first half, although it's too late now. It's already 9 o'clock, so oh well. And then the second half, I would take Denver for the second half. So if you can get Denver for the second half, I would check that out. All right, so this week I'm going to look at, I like the Giants right now, -3 over Baltimore. I like New Orleans +3 over Carolina. I like Pittsburgh -7.5 over Miami. Jacksonville plus 2.5 over Chicago. Philadelphia minus 2.5 at Washington. Atlanta plus 6.5 over Seattle. Dallas plus 4 over Green Bay. And then I like the over in the Kansas City-Oakland game, over 46.5. And I like the over in the Atlanta-Seattle game, over 45.5. So those are the ones I'm looking at. I may actually go with all of those. But if I don't re-update on Sunday, those are the ones I'm going to go with. Remember to buy down your points or buy up as you need to. So if you're taking the underdog, you buy up. If you're taking the favorite, buy down. Anytime you can, especially if you're on a 3 or a 7, you want to go up or down off of that. Even though there have been a lot of missed extra points, it's becoming more and more of an issue. So you may actually want to buy a full point instead of a half point. It's going to make a big difference. And as always, good luck. The picks are absolutely free, absolutely free, absolutely free. The one to turn to, I haven't done that in a while. I hope I've ShamWowed you again. And hey, Poppy, we'll see ya.